Welcome to Second Listen Saturday on the Parenting Roundabout podcast, where we share some fun moments from a past episode for your weekend listening pleasure. Look for new episodes every Monday through Friday.
Today, we'd like to vent about those emergency contact forms. And this is because I had to fill out all these forms once again for my dogs to go to the kennel. Because the kennel that they've been going to, that we board them at whenever we go out of town, they opened a new location, which is closer to where we live. Great. But we had to fill out all the paperwork again. And we had to list an emergency contact for the dogs. And it said, it can't be yourself or your spouse. Because I was filling it out based on me and I couldn't put my husband, which of course makes sense because if we're both out of town and the dogs are at the kennel, then.
Okay.
But I don't know. Who do I put down for this? I mean, they're like more trouble than kids.
They really are.
I don't know what to do.
Yes, what would the responsibility of this person be? Just to find you?
No, I think it would be like if for some reason the dogs got kicked out of the kennel. Like if they were suddenly sick or they did something so naughty that it got them booted.
Man, I never thought of that.
Then I feel like this person would have to go get them.
Oh my God.
I don't want to make anybody do that.
Well, what you do is you put the phone number down and then you tell the person, if the kennel calls you, say absolutely not.
Answer.
Don't answer.
And it's one of those things where, like, I know if I asked somebody, they would say, of course, just put it down. But I just don't even want to ask because it's so, I just feel like it's such
very, take care of my two dogs.
I know.
It's like you wouldn't hesitate to put the responsibility for your children in somebody else's hands, but the dogs are too much.
Yeah, I mean, for my children, I can think of several people who I would do and who I have done in the past. And yeah, it's like, it's not, I don't know, especially because, the kids are independent now. Like, you just have to vouch for them or whatever at this stage. But the dogs, I mean, first putting them in someone's car, that's like, then I'm going to have to probably offer to detail their vehicle afterwards because it's going to be a mess.
Okay, I have the best solution for that. I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay. I just feel like it's one of those things where you have to ask for help and you don't want to.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you do and when you get it over with, it's fine. But before you do, it's so stressful and it just nags at you. So, but Nicole has a solution.
Yes, tell us the solution,
I was looking
Nicole.
for dog kennels for the car the other day, like portable dog kennels. And they literally have this, like, just imagine this great big tube. And it's made out of like this really strong nylon material. And it's about, whatever, like 3 or 4 feet long, right? And you just put the tube on your back seat.
Okay.
And then it takes up the entire space of the back. So do you kind of get the picture?
Yeah. It's like a sleeping bag, but it's more like a tunnel.
It's a tunnel. Yeah. And then you open the door, the dogs jump in the tunnel, and then you shut the door and they're trapped in this tunnel.
Oh my.
And they can move around, but they can't get out. And then all their fur is contained in there.
Well, you can get away with that once, but the second time is the dog going to go, no.
Yeah, no.
This didn't end well the first time.
But I thought, what a good idea.
That
I
is
might
a good
try
idea.
it. I'll let you know. Anyway. So maybe you could offer that up to your...
Right. The dogs come with a tube for transportation. If you do me this favor, I will provide it.
Some herding of dog into tube may be required. Good luck with that. I'll be on vacation.
But when your kids were younger, did you stress out about this too? Like, who do you put? Because, Nicole, you don't have any family members anywhere near. It's really painful. I don't know.
It is.
And I also feel like in this day and age, when we all have cell phones, I mean, honestly, I'm reachable. Yeah. Like, I don't need you to put down, and I don't need to write down anybody else's name because you can get to me.
Yeah.
Or my husband.
And then I can get a pet Uber to pick up my pet and take them to the vet.
I had a situation where I was an emergency contact for a friend's child. And in this case, it was because the mom didn't drive. And so if they ever called and the kid had to go home sick from school, I guess they didn't call me. I guess she would call me. I guess I was her emergency contact.
Right.
But I know she had me down with the school as well. And it worked out really well, except we got to one point where she called me. She said her daughter was sick. Could I go pick her up? And I said, sure. I hung up the phone, got my keys, and then I realized my daughter was driving now. And she was taking the car to college. And I did not have a car with me. So I had to call her back and say, I can't pick your kid up. I don't have a car. So that was the end of that. I felt terrible. Like I am a failed emergency contact. I had one job. So nowadays I could have called her an Uber, I guess, and offered to pay for it. But at the time,
well, and it's one of those things where if someone asks me to do it or you to do it, you're like, of course, put down my name. I'm happy to help. And you're a little bit
honored, to be asked.
Right. But yet, the thought of asking somebody else to do it is so intimidating.
Yeah. Well, and just the reality of, that responsibility.
Yes.
Right.
Even though it really isn't much of it. It's more a theoretical responsibility than anything else.
I mean, the odds that it would actually ever be needed are very small.
Yeah. Now, even even for adults now, there are emergency contacts. I was just filling out a form for a new dentist. The new patient forms. And they asked for emergency contact, which I guess I get it. You're doing dental work. Maybe you have some anesthesia or something happens. So I put my husband down, but then they wanted his social security number and his driver's license number.
What?
And I'm like,
no.
This seems
That's
excessive. Why would you possibly need that information? And then I realized they'd asked me for the same information. And I'm like, why do you need it from me either? So I went back and deleted it from that part.
Yeah.
I had just, sheepishly put it down. But when they were asking you for my emergency contact, imagine if it wasn't your husband, if you were putting it down for somebody else. Hello, will you be my emergency contact? And also I need your social security number and your driver's license number.
That's crazy.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think
I can see, especially not for an adult, but for a kid, that they would ask for ID maybe from the person when they showed up.
I guess maybe that's why, but asking for social security number is a little loaded.
Yeah, that I don't see any reason why.
That's really weird.
I can see it if it's, I guess I can see it if it was the person who was going to be responsible for your bill. Yeah. But that wasn't what it was. That was a separate part of the form. This was just an emergency contact. So, come on. It's hard enough to find an emergency contact.
I know.
Don't make us give sensitive personal information.
Another crazy hoop. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where is this kept in your office? Is it locked up somewhere? Oh my goodness.
Wow. Yeah, that's a little extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think these are things they just put out. These are the things they put on forms, and then when you ask about them, they say, "Oh, you don't have to do that. That's okay."
Just skip.
So why is it on there at all?
Why?
Some dummies put it down, and then we get to take their identity.
They also ask, like, how does your dog feel about strangers? How does your dog feel about puppies? How does your
Are you serious?
Well, you've been taking care of this dog for 5 years, so I think it's fine. But you have to, sign your life away.
I do remember one time I had a friend picking our dog up from the kennel because we were still going to be on vacation, and she was going to pick the dog up early and stay home with the dog. And I had to, provide identifying information about her. And I, put a picture of her on a piece of paper and did a little thing describing who she was and all this stuff. This is who is going to be coming to pick up the dog.
Could happen.
So I don't want any dog napping, Cruella de Vil might come in and say, I will take
They would never say that about my dogs. Cruella would not be interested. She'd be like, well, that one's obnoxious and that one is shedding too much, so forget it.
Would not make a good coat.
Yes, exactly. And the other day I was thinking, my dogs, when my next door neighbors have 5 little grandchildren, and they're often, walking back and forth in the backyard or playing in the backyard or whatever. And whenever my dogs go out there, my one dog just really barks her head off at these poor little children. And so then I always go out and drag her inside, and then the kids seem a little disappointed. And I wonder if it's like, when your baby cries, it sounds so awful, but if it's someone else's baby, you're like, oh, isn't that sweet? I feel like that might be the case with my dog.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. Would be nice if that were the case.
Yeah, I mean, I sort
They're
of
so high maintenance, honestly.
Yes.
These dogs. But could you not put an emergency contact down for your dog, though? I mean, seriously. They're part of the family, right? Could you imagine?
I know you have. I know.
We treat them like babies.
I think when we did all these forms the first time around for the previous location, I think we might have put down a dog walker that we used to use.
Oh, that's a good idea.
But now that person, I think, doesn't do it anymore, doesn't walk dogs anymore, and because I got a series of extremely confusing emails from someone, and what I pieced together was that she had taken over the business from this other woman, and she was trying to put it all into some computer system. I don't know. It was very, very confusing.
Well, see, here's a whole nother business opportunity. You could be, set up a business being your dog emergency contact. Most of the time you wouldn't get called. You could still get a little fee.
Right. A little retainer.
And then if you do get called, you have to house sit the dog.
Right. Yeah. I like it.